Hello, my friends. So I got back to LA late last night and I got a really good night's sleep. I also made an executive decision to not work the last few days. I've been taking the last few days to really take care of my heart and to recover from the breakup. And although I'm not there yet, I'm doing really well. I actually feel really good today. I can tell there's little leaks, like little holes that are still in the process of being patched up. But I think the reason why some people are able to bounce back quicker than others, and it's not a competition or anything, but I'll give you a little insight into this, is some people will continue to speak negatively of the other person. They'll have a hard time letting go. And so in a way, they keep hurting themselves by doing that, and they keep leaking energy, right? What I like to do in any situation, whether I have a conflict with a family member or with a friend or a partner, is I like to travel back into my memories and ask myself what I could have done differently, how I could have shown up better as a better version of myself, and really taking ownership for my choices. Because I really do believe we have the capacity to rewrite our stories and to make course corrections, even though, in many ways the damage is done. And I know for me, I can be pretty flawed. I'm not perfect by any means. But I think the reason why I tend to recover rather quickly, and even though, again, I'm not 100% there, but I am doing well, is because I do like to go back into my memories and sort of examine what I could have done better. A lot of times when we continue to fight with people or to argue with people, everything we argue about is futile. It's completely pointless, because the key is to go back to the inception, to that origination point of what set off the chain reaction. So I like to go back to that place, to that inception point, and ask myself how I could have handled it differently, And I think that's a really good way to sort of patch those cracks in the jar and recover quicker. So, and sometimes it's going to take a very long time. Like with my other ex, it took me about 6 months to grieve. And we don't get to control the process. I'm sure that this is going to come in waves. I'm going to have ups and downs. And it's not about controlling this process, but really being present with it and being inquisitive and asking yourself how and what you can learn from the situation at hand. So anyways, what I wanted to speak to you about tonight is, a lot of people ask me how I'm able to telepathically interact with higher dimensional beings. You could call them angelic beings or celestial beings. How am I able to do that? Well, the first thing you have to keep in mind is we all have the ability to do this. I'm not more special than you. I just happen to be wired in such a way where it's all I think about. It's all I observe. My eyes are always on God or Source or these higher dimensional beings, because I consider myself to be a student of life. And I always want to gain more insight as to what I can do or what I can learn. But here's what you need to know. These higher dimensional beings, they are you in a sense. They love you unconditionally. And you'll find that whenever you play the victim in life, or whenever you try to justify why you're acting the way that you're acting, it's kind of like bumper cars. You're going to keep bumping into them. And they're going to keep holding you accountable because they love you that much. But they won't judge you. They won't judge you for trying to argue for your limitations or for trying to justify why you think you're right and the other person is wrong. So this ties in with my breakup as well, because I've been learning a lot through this and through my memories and what I could have done differently. But yes, one of the main ways to get in touch with, on a telepathic level, with these higher dimensional beings. By the way, they're not higher, they're not more superior than you. They're just not in a physical body. We're in a very dense reality here. And so, and you know, I think all of us mean well. Well, maybe that's an exaggeration, but I believe underneath it all, we are all light. We are all love. And I think all of us mean well. It's just that we've had different upbringings, and we've had different ways of being raised, and we went to different schools, and we've been through different traumas, whether it be abuse or molestation or rape or whatever it might have been. And so what happens is everyone on this planet is on a different radio station. And even though we all mean well, we don't always hear each other because we can't really relate to one another. And part of why we're here is to bridge that gap, right? To really take the time to listen to each other attentively and tend to each other's needs. This way we can bridge the gap, because there is only one of us. There isn't me and then your separate self. We're all part of Source. We all belong to the whole. It's kind of like a necklace with beads. There's only one necklace. It's just that there are many of us. Or a necklace of pearls or whatever, but we're all part of that same necklace. And the reason why we're on this planet is to learn from each other so that we can remember that we're all in this together, you know. And part of becoming increasingly telepathic is you start to embody, if you will, or integrate other people, right? So you have your own personality, you have your own vibration, you have your own upbringing, you have your own style, the way that you speak. But as you develop empathy and compassion, that now you're kind of taking in other people's energy. And the more you broaden your consciousness, right, the more telepathic you become. In other words, you know how to read a room because you've integrated other people's experiences through empathy and connectivity and compassion. But what I want to say to you tonight is this. These higher dimensional beings, these angelic beings, they love you unconditionally, right? And sometimes you're gonna fight them, or you're gonna fight yourself in your head. But they're just holding space for you. They're just, oh, nope, he's hitting that wall or he's hitting that bumper car. That's okay, right? And then you eventually have these light bulb moments, and usually you'll have those light bulb moments when you finally open up your heart and you see that no one is inherently wrong. Everyone is right according to what they've been through in life, based on what they've been through in life. And so you are unconditionally loved. And the only reason I'm able to continue to show up for you guys, to be quite frank, is this physical body still has trauma. This physical body is going to go through what it's going to go through. It's going to attract what it's going to need to attract, the experiences that are going to help to uplift this physical body, to uplift me as a human, right? However, there's also another part of me that is overseeing this journey. There's another part of me that understands the dots and how they connect. And so that part of me is indestructible. That part of me is eternal. That part of me is, you could say, a higher dimensional being that is carrying this human experience, that is observing this human experience. So there's almost like two parts of ourselves. There's the human part that's been conditioned and that's been traumatized. And then there's this higher part of ourselves that's able to oversee all of it, that probably would wish that everyone would get on the same page now, but it also understands that there's a longer process. It's not an overnight thing. So my message to you tonight is this. Whatever you're going through, okay? If you want to be in telepathic contact with higher dimensional beings, i.e., you could say it's you without separation, right? Meaning it's you without, these higher dimensional beings are you. They're not, but they're guiding you back to you, right? And there is only one of us. So if you want to be in contact with them, keep reminding yourself, I am unconditionally loved. What am I doing that isn't unconditionally loving? Right? Name dropping, speaking ill of people, gossiping, that's only going to detract you from that connection. It's only going to take you away from that connection, because this world that we live in is very seductive. It is very seductive. It's very easy to go down rabbit holes or to constantly complain about people in your life. It's a very seductive world. But you have to keep in mind that this world is very fragmented. It's traumatized. And so even though it might be tempting to make someone else the villain and turn yourself into the hero, we both know that that's duality, right? So that's not the way to go. Everyone is you. Everyone. And sometimes we're not always able to cross that bridge with the other person, just like I wasn't able to cross the bridge with my partner, well, now my ex. But I still see him as a divine being. I still see him as a beautiful soul, and I'm so grateful to him for everything I learned. Truly I am. I really am. And I got to experience safety within my body. And I didn't realize how much I was suffering before then. So relationships are a great gift. There's a lot of downsides sometimes. Things can go south, but you have to hold on to the good memories. You have to hold on to the good stuff and then learn from the bad stuff. So if you want to have more ease connecting with these celestial beings or these higher dimensional beings on a telepathic level, what you have to do is remain in a space of unconditional love. Truly. Okay? Because the world is going to come at you with all these temptations and these seductions. And of course, your ego is going to want to be on that like white on rice, right? It's going to want to, I want to open that browser and get nasty. But the nastiness isn't really taking ownership for the origination point. And so one of the ways I'm able to continue to show up for you guys, as I said, is that I know that I'm unconditionally loved. And can I start to be that for everyone around me, whether they know it or not, or whether I exhibited that or not? I probably didn't. I did say some hurtful things as well. However, we can't go backwards physically. We can go backwards in our memories and make a course correction and know better for the next time. So as soon as you take the bait with hate, as soon as you take the bait with victimhood and making the other person bad and making you good and all of this, then you're going to distance yourself from that connection. You're no longer in a space of unconditional love, and that's when the world can get you. All right? My human Phil is still injured, right? I'm still recovering, but I keep showing up because I know that that's not the eternal Phil. Does that make sense? This consciousness speaking through me, through this body right now, is eternal. And so it doesn't matter. You get knocked down, you get back up, or you stay down and you cry. And I've cried nonstop the last few days, but that's okay. Today I feel better than I have in a while. But again, if you want to be in contact with these higher dimensional beings, you've got to take radical self-responsibility for how you hurt people, for how I hurt people, and remain in a space of unconditional love. And then that telephone line will always be there. Trust me, I'm telling you, it'll always be there. So I hope that helps you guys. I love you. You're unconditionally loved. I'm unconditionally loved. Here we go.